Yeah,
Yeah.
gluconeogenesis. We mentioned that in the
Yes.
last
Yeah,
podcast.
that's right.
And that's the factor that people don't consider when they look at, the calorie counting theory.
Yes.
They don't look at the macronutrients
No, no.
and how that changes the whole ball game.
And I really believe quality is so much more important than quantity in that area.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to nourish your body in a way that it's going to work efficiently. And if you're just putting junk carbs in there, it's going to require so much more to get what it needs, and it just turns you into a big mess.
Yeah. What kind of tips do you have to recommend to others that are dealing with dysfunctional habits, like stepping on the scale every day
Or every hour.
or every hour, right?
Oh, the scale. Throw the scale under the bus.
Uh-huh.
Seriously. you
Yeah.
just, if the scale motivates somebody, great. I know I do step on the scale daily, but it's so that I can kind of see if what I'm doing is working for me. But that's it. And there are some days I'll go 2 or 3 days. But there are people that get on it every morning, and if it's up half a pound, they freak out. And that is
Yeah.
definitely not the kind of behavior they want. They need to limit to themselves, so once a week, maybe once a month. It's just too frustrating, and you give up if those kind of ups and downs bother you.
Yep. It's more of a mental game. People are kind of a slave to their diet at that point, aren't they?
They are. They look at the up, and they don't think of it as, well, maybe I'm retaining a little bit of water, or, instead they look at it and they go, oh, I must have ate too much yesterday, so I'm going to starve myself today.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really bad habit, especially if you can't handle that. I personally have a pattern. I notice that I'll lose some, and then I'll go up a little, and then I'll lose a little more, and then I'll go up a little. So when I see that, I know it's working for me. But that's for me, and everybody's different. I would say the best thing to do would be, instead of weighing, is to use a tape measure
Mm-hmm.
for your
Yeah.
clothes. I've got a favorite skirt that when I started, I couldn't even get into, and now it's too big. So I know it's working, whether the scale tells me it's working or not.
Yeah.
And the whole, what is it, a pound of fat and a pound of muscle? A pound is a pound, but muscle is so much more dense that it takes up less space. You can weigh the same, but be building muscle, especially if you're working out. You're going to build muscle.
Yeah.
And the scale's not going to show you that. It's just going to show you still weigh what you weighed maybe 2 weeks ago, despite the fact that you're working really hard. So it's great to have measurements, and it's great to have maybe clothes that, if you don't like doing the measurements, just have an outfit that's tight, and check every couple of weeks, put it on and see if it's starting to fit better.
Mm-hmm.
Because the scale really is not a great indicator of how you're doing.
I think they have a scale that measures your body fat percentage, and that's kind of what we're getting at with the measurement thing.
Yeah.
And they may have those on the market. I'm not sure. They measure the impedance of the fluids in your body, apparently, and calculate the fat based on that. But yeah, it's definitely a process that people need to kind of relax and just focus on, the eating lifestyle and the quality of food you're eating, rather than obsessing about the weight issue, because it really is about losing the fat, and the way you do that is by changing the types of food that you eat. So from a psychological perspective, what do you think is more motivating, or are they equally motivating? Your own alignment with a healthy self-image, like what you project into the future as your ideal person, your optimal weight, what it's going to be like being that person and having that image, or the encouragement and support from other people in your family and your friends and so forth, as they see you actually lose this weight and become more aligned with your optimal weight?
It might be equally, maybe, because it's great to have both, to have that excitement about where you're going, and to also have the excitement of someone, coming up to you and saying, wow, I'm really noticing a difference. You're really losing weight, or you're really looking healthy. Having others notice the positive changes and cheer you on is certainly motivational, because you know that people are seeing your progress. They're seeing your hard work coming to fruition. So I know for me, both of them are very motivating.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. That's kind of what we focus on too, is the healthy mind and fit body. It's a combination. You have to have both.
Yes.
So
It's just as much mental as it is physical.
yeah, exactly. And that leads into, how much would you say that culture is a factor in people's bad eating habits? So like in the grocery stores, we see that inside the aisles, or in the aisles, is a lot of the junk food, and that's most of the store.
Yeah. I think it plays a very big part. It's a battle. The outside perimeter of the stores are usually your best bet. But, there's a few things on that inside perimeter you're going to want to pick up, and then you walk by all that other stuff that's not only sometimes a temptation, but sometimes a lot cheaper than the healthier food.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes the checkbook have to say on what you put in your cart. I know you can get like Little Debbie snack cakes for $1.
Yeah.
And people will, I've seen carts with several boxes of those because they're cheap.
Yeah.
They're cheaper than, putting fruit in your basket. So unfortunately, I think that also plays a big part in how some people eat.
Yeah, you may not have to pay much at the beginning, but you're going to pay in the end with the the bad nutrition that comes from that.
Your doctor visits and your weight and possibly diabetes or whatever else is contributing to your bad health, the nutrition plays such a part in that. And also with all of our celebrations, they're all centered around eating.
Yeah.
And you notice it's not centered around salads and veggie trays and meat trays. It's centered around the big pies and the cakes and the casseroles. There's not many. I know going to like church dinners, there's always these big casseroles full of noodles and cheese and the French fried onions and you name it. It's all in a pot.
Yep.
And as a culture, that's how we celebrate. We eat. And unfortunately, I think we need to find some better ways to celebrate.
Or at least encourage the idea that it's not bad to eat the healthy stuff. I mean, it's like all these dinner parties and, Christmas parties and things like that. It's always like, it's so much fun to eat all this junk.
Yeah, we do. We make it the fun part of the gathering, and you're told to clean your plate, and you're told you should try Aunt Bertha's cinnamon rolls because it'll hurt her feelings if you don't try it.
Exactly, and that gets into the peer pressure, right?
Absolutely.
The negative judgments of people that are not eating so healthy, and how do you deal with that, right?
Yeah, and it is difficult because people really, they get touchy if they make something special and you don't try it.
I guess it goes to religion, politics, and now food are not to be talked about.
It does. I have really gotten into some doozy discussions with people over nutrition. Mm-hmm. And I've learned to just really, unless I'm in the mood to debate, to just be careful what I talk about because it can get heated pretty quick.